What up, what up, what up, y'all? I want to welcome y'all back to another episode of the Trifecta Podcast. Make sure you hit that like, comment, subscribe button, turn on notification button on, man. We going strong throughout the whole playoffs, man. Real strong, man. We doing recaps, previews, predictions, man. All that good stuff, man. So turn the notification button on, all right? Tune in to your boy and like, comment, and subscribe. Getting into the Pacers versus the Bucks series, all right? So how did the Pacers win this series? I mean, wasn't it simple? No Giannis. Dame when he played 3 or 4 games. Chris Middleton was on the island by himself. Bobby Portis got suspended. He got ejected one game for that little skirmish. I'm going to call it a skirmish. I don't know what that was for real. He just grabbed on Nembhard's braids. It was a funny ass scene, I'm not going to lie to you, man. But he ended up getting ejected. All right. They ended up losing that game, but they did have a good fight in that game, man. But I do want to give the Pacers credit, though. Like, I'm not going to be a hater or anything like that, man. They got the job done. All right, they're off to the second round, going to play the New York Knicks. So it should be a really good series, man. Styles make fights, and I like that fight for those guys, man. I like the style they play, and it's going to be a contrast in the play styles of the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, man. But let's get into this recap of the Bucks and the Pacers. So, the Pacers were just getting to the paint, man. Driving and kicking, dribble penetration, man. This is what these guys do. This is what McConnell does at an elite level. This is what Siakam does attacking mismatches. This is what Tyrese Halliburton can do with floaters and his ability to see guys in the opposite corner, throw the lob, hit the guy on the roll, all that good stuff, man. This is what these guys do, all right? Aaron Nesmith can attack closeouts. Nembhard can get to the basket as well, all right? All right, so they averaged 30 assists per game in that series alone. That led the league in assists per game in the playoffs this year. They had a 120 offensive rating and a 117 defensive rating in that series alone. All right, so the defense is still has room to work with. They didn't have their best players, so it should have kind of been lower. To be totally honest with you, man, they gave these guys too much respect, too much breathing room. Man, Chris Middleton was going crazy for like a good 2 or 3 games straight. He did a really good job of trying to take the place of Dame and Giannis with the scoring and also being someone that can get people involved as well. Also, shout out to Patrick Beverley, all right? He averaged about 7-8 assists as well during those absences of Damian Lillard. The Pacers are shooting the laces out of the ball. They're leading the league in three-pointers made. So they have 84 three-pointers made in the playoffs alone, all right? That's second behind the Philadelphia 76ers, who we all know played the New York Knicks, all right? So that's something that will come back up in a few. And the crazy thing about that is the Bucks weren't even a bad defensive team when guarding the three. All right, the Bucks were about middle of the pack in the league in opponent three-point percentage and opponent three-point makes. So they're actually pretty good in that category, man. But the Pacers just get that ball movement, they get that dribble penetration, and they find guys, man. If you collapse, they spray out to these guys, man. They had over 7 players score double digits in that series, all right? Halliburton. Turner shot 44% from 3 at 3 per game. This is the center we're talking about, Miles Turner. All right, he was shooting the shit out of the ball. Siakam, Obi Toppin coming off the bench. Nembhard starting 2 guard. Who else we got here? TJ McConnell, their backup point guard. Even he averaged 10 points a game. I mean, they just got guys out of the wazoo just scoring everywhere, bro. Like their bench, they have the best bench in the playoffs in the league. By far. TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin themselves in a final playoff game versus the Milwaukee Bucks literally were the leading scorers. TJ McConnell had about 20. Obi Toppin had about 20. All right. These are their backups, by the way. All right. So they're a team that they move the ball so well, man. They get great penetration. All right. They share the ball. They're unselfish. They play for each other, man. They're like a great team to want to play for. All right, if I was still playing basketball, all right, I would want to play for the Pacers, man. They're going to get guys open shots, and they just make basketball look easy and fun, and that's just how you want to play, man. As I mentioned earlier, their bench, all right, so not only do they average 30 assists per game, their bench is getting 30 a game. So 30 for 30 on the Indiana Pacers. Like, they're getting 30 balls everywhere. Pascal Siakam was averaging 30, like, the first 2 or 3 games. So they're just getting 30 balls everywhere, like, literally versus the Milwaukee Bucks, man. They were just giving it to these guys, man. But their defense wasn't great. Like, I don't understand why. Their personnel isn't bad. Aaron Nesmith is a pretty good defender. Nembhard was a pretty good defender. He was guarding Dame most of the series. He actually did a decent job against Dame, not including the first game. The first game, he got torched. All right, that was a game where Dame had like 35 at the first half. He didn't score in the second half, so that was real crazy. So when Nembhard was guarding Damian Lillard, he held him to 12 for 27, 17 for 18 from the free throw line. Damian Lillard versus Nembhard. So he did have a problem kind of fouling him, and that will come into play the next series because he's most likely gonna guard Jalen Brunson. All right, Jalen Brunson at this point is probably better than Damian Lillard. All right, he gets to the line more. All right, he's a better scorer. His usage rate is higher than even Dame was without Giannis. All right, so Nembhard's gonna have to lace them shoes up, like really lock in and dig deep, man. Because guarding Brunson is gonna be a tough task for anybody, especially someone like Nembhard, man. Because Brunson's like he's small, but he's big. So to kind of explain that, he plays a lot of bully ball, even though he's not tall at all. Right, he gets into your shit. Literally, he gets into your shit. He has a nice post game, all right. He gets guys a hostage off the pick and roll. So if you're behind him and you're chasing, he'll get you on his back. He'll draw fouls. He'll do all that good stuff, man. Short shots, mid range. Brunson is elite at all of that stuff, man. So Nembhard has to be on his P's and Q's. It has to be aware of that. All right, so without Giannis and them being already slow-footed as it is, now them losing that athleticism with Giannis being out, all right, it was just a recipe for disaster for the Milwaukee Bucks, man. But like I said, kudos to them for getting the game to 6. So for the Milwaukee Bucks, you guys get this. Like, I don't even hold it against you that you lost in 6. I don't. Like, because the odds were against you all. Like, I don't think this is a stain on Giannis or Dame's legacy or record per se. I think they'll be fine. They do have to make some trades, get more athletic, get faster, get better perimeter defenders. But that's something they can do in the offseason, man. So good job to the Pacers making it to the second round. Now let's see how they stack up versus the New York Knicks. So, man, quick recap of the Knicks 76ers series, man. It was a really exciting series, man. Tyrese Maxey balled out. He had that 50 burger in the Garden, was nasty. Literally willed him to that win, man. Jalen Brunson, last 4 games, man, like 40 and 10. All right, he's been going crazy. But I feel sorry for the Philadelphia 76ers, man. I do feel sorry for them because they weren't at full strength, all right? Embiid averaged 33 a game on a bad leg and a lazy eye. Like, what else do you really want him to do, man? So I don't blame Embiid. I actually think it's very honorable that he played despite all the injuries and his eye and all that stuff, man. Maxey played really well. He showed why he's the second best player on the Sixers, and they don't need a James Harden, all right? They really just need like a nice swing man. They need somebody to take the place of Tobias Harris because he was just he was doodle. He was trash. Basuda, he was everything you can think of that has something to do with trash. He was that in that series, man. And I don't mean to be like mean, rude, nothing like that, but he didn't play well. The man averaged 9 points per game. He's their third best player, all right? It's not acceptable, man. So for Tobias Harris, man, I'm sorry. Tobias Harris, you look like J. Cole, man. You my guy, but I got to give you this, man. It's just unacceptable, man. But neither here or there, man. Let's get into some of the stats for this game, man. So the Knicks out-rebounded Philly 273 to 247, all right? Which is something to be said, man, because the Knicks are now playing the Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers are the top 3 worst rebounding team in the NBA, all right? Philadelphia was kind of middle of the pack, all right? And the Knicks smoked them on the rebound, all right? So expect the Knicks to pretty much essentially do the same thing. But Brunson played well. He averaged 35 and 9 for the series. DiVincenzo had a big last game with the series, man. Josh Hart played well. He averaged 20 points per game and shot 43% from 3. 43% from 3. So he was lighting it up. He played really well, man, and over 10 rebounds per game. And so he was hooping. It was a really good series, man. Like, I really enjoyed watching it, man. And it's sad that the 76ers got to go home in that fashion, man. I know they're going to get a lot of slack from Philly fans, but I say cut to some slack, man. They did really well. Nick Nurse has proven to be a great coach, the right coach for that team, man. I think they add some pieces on the margins, some good role players. They don't even need a star necessarily. They just need some solid role players, man, that play their role, do their job, and I think they'll be in good shape for next year, man, as long as the top guys is healthy.